to another episode of Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, I'm going to be recapping episode 5 of season 5 of Lego Masters. So far, we have seen, was it 3 teams be eliminated through the first 4 episodes. And this week, there's a whole new twist on the competition as the teams of Lego enthusiasts are tasked with doing the unthinkable, creating a mind blowing build that bursts with movement and tells a compelling story. First, each team will select a type of movement to center their build around, including twist, spin, push, and swing. Then, for the first time ever, the teams will compete in a head to head battle where the builds will be judged against only one other team. In an all new episode of Get in Gear. Lego Masters airs Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox, available to stream on Hulu the following day. So, that being said, our eliminated team so far: Alex and Tone, Marcella and Krista, and Nikki and Kendall. All right. So, let's see here. It was, oh my God. First off, let me talk about something here. There was a joke in this episode about Richard Gere. And this joke was met with like cautionary eyeballs going everywhere, including I think it was Luke saying, "Who is Richard Gere?" And it made me feel really, really, really old. All right, let's see here. Each match will name a winner and loser being up for elimination. Gears will be picking a team that team will choose that they team that will face. And in Luke will take on Nikki and Britain. They choose the swing movement. Ben and Michael take on Corey and Rebecca. They choose twist. Anthony and Joe take on Ian and Sage. They chose spin. Maya and Jamie, John and Justin get push. Mid show, as we do every week, right? Let's figure out what this week's twist is going to be, what's going to go, what happens, blah, 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 blah. But the twist was there is no twist. So, that being said, our first battle was between Ben and Michael and Corey and Rebecca. Ben and Michael's pirate ship was pretty neat, and I enjoyed the movement. I do think out of the first 5 episodes, this might have been their weakest build yet. And because of that, I gave the score a 6 out of 10. Corey and Rebecca, twist it love. Their jukebox, their colors, the movement. I don't. This one to me was way better. Obviously, they got the swing movement, so they had both character. They had their character on the jukebox swinging around like it's the '60s, dancing around. It was incredible. I gave it an 8 out of 10. And you know what? The biggest upset of the season so far: Corey and Rebecca take down the powerhouse team of Ben and Michael, sending Ben and Michael to the bottom part of the competition, meaning they were possibly up for elimination. Anthony and Joe, this was a pretty solid build. I like what they did. The spin on there, and the amount that they have going on for themselves, I felt like that was the reason why. Sage and Ian, the cat, and the not so bad cat. Honestly, I love this. I love the story. It's cute. It is a crazy build. This to me was probably 2 of our better builds. Anthony and Joe's, I gave like a 7 out. I gave both of these 7s out of 10s. The right team won, but Ian and Sage really got the short end of the competition because they were better than pretty much everybody else's thing. I just felt like they would have beaten basically everybody else except for Corey and Rebecca, probably, and Anthony and Joe here. But they just got the short end of the stick. Nikki and Britain, this one was bad. They didn't. I don't feel like they swinging thing. They understood it. I don't know. And Luke, I thought their swinging part of it was awesome, and I think that's the only reason they were saved in this competition and saved by facing Nikki and Britain, they didn't have a very good one here. And in Luke, obviously win this one. This was my pick as well. Maya and Jamie, John and Justin, their builds were just extremely mediocre. I did not care for either of the builds. I guess the right team won with Maya and Jamie. But to me, this one was very underwhelming. I kind of expect a little bit more out of these people, especially this. We're 5 episodes into this, where the builds have been kind of hit and miss. And I know the competition builds and the pressure builds and stuff like that. But to me, this was just not a strong episode for Maya and Jamie, John and Justin. Maya and Jamie end up winning our top four: Corey, Rebecca, and Luke. Maya and Jamie, Anthony and Joe. Again, I felt bad for Ian and Sage because they should be in the top four. If they would have faced Maya, if they would have faced, oh God, what did I, my Maya and if they would have faced Maya and Jamie, they would have beat them hands down, easily. You know what I mean? Easily. I think they might have even been. They would have probably beat Anna Luke too. All right, Anthony or Corey and Rebecca won. This is where um, this is where I kind of go back and forth because I liked Anthony and Joe's build too. But if we're looking at the competition and looking at they're supposed to build, they're supposed to highlight that movement and how um Ann and Luke were able, not Ann and Luke, who am I? God, why keep Corey and Rebecca? With Corey and Rebecca's build, I really feel like they did a fantastic job with that jukebox. That to me was such a dominant presence of the movement. That's why they ended up winning. I think Anthony and Joe were pretty much hot on their heels. Bottom four: Ben and Michael, Nikki Britton, John, Justin, Sage, and Ian. If you look at these, to me, the bottoms were John and Justin, Sage, and Ian. Those two were the bottom tier. It was no surprise to see Nikki and Britton go home here. I really feel like they didn't comprehend the swinging aspect of their build. And because of that, that's the reason why they ended up going home. That's just cut and dry, my personal opinion. All right. That being said, we have another team out of the competition. We have now four eliminated. Next week's episode 6, which is going to be the Batman episode. Very, very excited about that as somebody that is a huge fan of Batman. Now, that being said, who is our top 3 after episode 5? Now, this is in no particular order because I don't feel confident in having a quote unquote one right now. Ben and Michael have to be in the conversation. Even in the bottom 4 this week, they just got annihilated by the way better team. And I still think that they had a pretty solid build themselves. Weakest of the season for them, but still. For me, Corey and Rebecca, the big win catapults them in the top 3. Such a strong, strong, strong week for them. And because of that, you cannot ignore them. They have to be in that top 3. Um, and Ian and Sage, it it's I mean, I think I've had pretty much the same almost top 3. Top 2, Ben and Michael, Ian and Sage. I feel like they're just the best right now amongst this competition. I do think that Anthony and Joe are on the cusp, but because of Ian and Sage's consistency is the reason why they land in my top 3. All right, folks, let me know what you guys think of this week's episode of Lego Masters Season 5, Episode 5. Who are some of your favorite builds? Who do you think is going to win the entire thing? Let me know in the comments below. We'll be back next week talking more Lego Masters.